Hi, grade 11s. Seeing that we are heading towards our mid-year examinations, let us learn about study skills. Good study skills and strategies will help you to manage your schoolwork and prepare for assessments and examinations. Do you know the difference between study skills and study strategies? Let us look at what's the difference between the two. Study skills are techniques that you can learn and apply to all your subjects, and study strategies refers to the way in which you put your study skills to best use, and this will depend on your study style or the way in which you study best. Now, let's examine how learning takes place. We learn in two different forms. We either learn informally or formally. Informal learning is when we learn through watching and copying other people's behavior. For example, playing around the house. Young children learn a lot through informal play, exploratory activities. Informal learning is a lifelong process, while formal learning is planned, technical, professional, and academic learning that take place in a structured environment. Formal learning happens at schools when you do your homeworks, when you write your tests, when you do revisions, when you do experiments, and when you do examinations as well. Now, what are the valuable study skills that you can use? Taking notes. Taking notes is a study skill that will help you to memorize new information. It is very important to take notes while your teacher is teaching, so that if there is anything that you have forgotten or that you did not understand, you can go back to your notes and check what it is. Reading for a meaning. Reading for a meaning means that you have to read to understand. Reading from a textbook or from notes help you to work out any part of a subject you do not understand. Now there are certain steps that you need to follow when you read for a meaning. First, you read the first sentence of any text slowly. Then, if there is something that you do not understand, you reread it again. Then, if you understand it, you go to the next sentence. If you reread a sentence and you still do not understand, you have to ask someone else to explain. Study strategies that are going to help you to approach a specific task. Now, let's look at what you can do to help you to approach a specific task. The first thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that you study regularly. Do not leave all your studying to the last minute. Set up a study schedule. Leaving your studying to the last minute will not help you. Number 2, set up a study routine. If possible, set up a routine so that you study at the same time each day. For example, you can use your timetable to study. 3, set yourself goals. Set yourself a goal each study session so that you can measure your progress. If you do not set your goals, then you won't achieve anything. Make sure that if you want to achieve anything, you set your goals to make sure that you measure your progress. 4, do not procrastinate. You know what they say? Procrastination is the thief of time. Don't procrastinate when you are studying. It is easy to find other things to do instead of studying. But if you waste time, you will end up rushing through a study session and you won't cover the work properly. 5, block of time each day to study. Block of study time each week. Ideally, a block of study time should be around 40 to 50 minutes with a short break between blocks. 6, start with the more difficult work. When you study, get into the habit of studying with the most difficult assignment or subject. Why? Because when you first study, you have energy. You still have a lot of energy. So this will make it easier for you to actually get more work done. 7. Study in a quiet place. Try to study in a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Interruptions will distract you and you will lose your focus, which means your study session won't be as effective. So make sure that when you study, you find a place where there will be no interruptions or disruptions. 8. Study groups. Working in groups can be helpful. If you are struggling with something, a friend may be able to explain it to you. So if you're finding it difficult to study alone or to remember some of the things that you have studied or to understand them, then you might as well try study groups. They might be very helpful. Then when you are done, please do activity 1 in your activities, and then we will continue with our lesson. We are now going to look at examination writing skills and process of assessments. Exams and assessments are part of every learner's life. Exams and assessments will help you to keep track of your development throughout a school year and guide you in the areas that need improvement. Exams are one way to assess whether or not you know the facts and content of a particular subject and whether you can apply this information to different questions and tasks. They are not there to punish you. Exams also test whether you can think and apply your knowledge quickly and under pressure. That's why we give you time limit. Now, let's look at the things that you need to do before you start writing. In the examination room, your teacher may make a few general comments. You need to listen carefully so that you understand anything that you have to know. Sometimes we make mistakes because we fail to listen. Spend a few minutes reading through the entire paper before you start answering questions. Luckily, you get 10 minutes to read through your question paper before you actually start with your exam. So use that 10 minutes to go through your question paper to make sure that you read everything and you understand it. Please do not use that 10 minutes to sleep. Okay. Take notes of the instructions that tell you how many questions you have to answer, what the marks are for question, and where you need to write. This will help you because if you are asked to write 2 questions out of 3, for example, and you did not read instructions and then you decide to write all 3 of them, they will only mark the first 2 questions. And if you knew the 3rd question better, then you are going to lose marks. Scan the questions and identify the ones you feel confident about. These are the questions where you should be able to do well and get good marks. Okay, you need to make sure that if there is one question that you are very confident about, you can even start with that question that you know very well. But remember that you have to make sure that you label or you write the question the way it is on a question paper. Then you need to understand the questions. A really important skill that you need when you write exams is the ability to understand the questions. Many of you answer questions incorrectly because you misunderstand what you are being asked to do. Please make sure that you read the question and you understand it before you attempt to answer it. Do not just see one word and think that you do understand what they want. Read the question, understand it, and then answer it. Now, what are the things that you need to do when you answer the questions? The following important exam writing skills will help you during the exams. You must make sure that you understand the question as said before. Then you need to structure your answers. For example, let's say you are writing an essay. You know that you need to structure it in a particular way. It needs to have the heading, Then you need to have introduction, it needs to have the body and the conclusion. So you need to make sure that your answers are structured correctly. Keep track of time. If you are given 2 hours to complete your paper, you make sure that you complete your paper in that 2 hours. Otherwise, you are not going to finish, which means that you are going to lose marks on certain questions. And the last one is you need to work neatly. Please write neatly. Make sure that the teachers can read your work. And please do activity 2 in your books. Thank you.